welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, to a news roundup here today, which is going to be dominated by the big breaking news that Ernesto Valverde has indeed extended his contract with Barcelona. That is now official. He will remain until the end of next season, also with the option of a further year. So we could see Ernesto Valverde in charge of Barcelona for 4 seasons in total. His contract was originally up at the end of this season, but it is now official. He will remain here. Is that the right decision? Why are we announcing this now? All of that and some more. It's coming right up. Let's do this! And look, guys, I want to make it absolutely clear, you know me, you've listened to my reviews, you've listened to my previews, you know that I don't hate Valverde. I'm not, really against him. I don't want him out at all costs. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at what we're doing, not only in terms of results, but also in terms of performances. Because as you know, people will look in, they'll say, oh, Barcelona fans, they're ungrateful, Valverde's won this, Valverde's won that, he's won the league, he's won the cup, we had that unbeaten run, why are you so ungrateful? But at the end of the day, at a club like Barcelona, we've got expectations, we've got objectives, we have an idea of how we want to play, how we want to go about things, both on the pitch and off the pitch as well. Now, Valverde is a very calming influence. I think he's somebody who's an absolute dream for the board of Barcelona right now, simply because under Valverde, you're never going to have a disaster domestically. In the league, you're never going to finish outside the Champions League places, you're never going to have a really bad run, because if things really get down to it and things get tight, Valverde can grind you out results if you really need it. So he's a dream in many ways, because he's constantly going to keep you in contention for the league title. He could go all the way in the cup once again this season. But what I really want to know here is that all we want? Is that all that we're really set up to do here? Do we not have the ambition to go further than that? Now, at the end of the day, Valverde this season could still end up with a treble. Valverde this season could deliver the Champions League title, and that would be incredible. But at the same time, why not wait a little bit longer to announce this news? Right now, we haven't even kicked off our last 16 tie against Lyon. We've no idea how we're going to go. We're on a pretty bad run of form. We were very, very suspect against Real Madrid. We drew against Valencia. We dropped points away at Athletic. Our lead at the top is 6 points right now, but Real Madrid are certainly coming. They're on form. Why not wait a little bit longer just to assess how Valverde's doing? Because for me now, this little contract extension, which will see Valverde stay here until the end of next season, maybe even further, it just sort of says to me, we're happy, we're content, we're not really pushing, and that is not the way that Barcelona should be. We should have the highest ambitions possible, we should have the vision of challenging on all fronts and really playing some good football at the same time, and we don't demand as fans a treble every season. You hear people say here, Barcelona fans, all they want is a treble, you're very, very ungrateful. We don't demand a treble. All that we're asking this season is that we're very, very competitive in Europe and we go to the final. We really put ourselves there and try and win this. At the end of the day, we haven't won the Champions League since 2015. We haven't even got past the quarter-finals in the last 3 seasons. That is not good enough. We want more, and that's all I'm saying here. Is this decision here to renew Ernesto Valverde based on the fact that he's a very safe option? Do we not have ambitions to do more than that, to compete even higher, to play better football? And what's coming out of the club here, and what's coming out really, really loud and clear, is the fact that the players are very, very happy with Ernesto Valverde. The players apparently were a driving force behind his contract being renewed. And what I would ask then is it a case of these players here, a lot of them in the first team, now you think about it, very core of that team is over 30. You look at the likes of Piqué, Sergio Busquets now approaching, Jordi Alba approaching, Rakitic over 30, Luis Suarez over 30. Players like that right now, who under Ernesto Valverde, there's no doubt about it, are undisputed starting players. They're in the team no matter what, and there's no pressure at all from anybody else in that lineup. Week in, week out, they know even if they perform badly, they're still going to remain in the team. And don't get me wrong, I love those guys, but at the end of the day, if you're in a job at the very, very highest level, and you know that you don't really need to be at your best to stay in the team, is that a good thing? Is it a good thing to renew somebody who maybe will not have the quality, will not have the mentality to say, look, you're not quite at that level anymore. I'm going to bring somebody else in. Does Valverde have the mentality, the attitude, the real bravery in many ways to oversee this transition in the coming years? To see players like Piqué, like Suarez, perhaps leave the team or go to the bench, have some times away and bring in somebody new, bring in those fresh faces and see the transition of Barcelona? Or are we just going to see the same things week in, week out with no progression? And that's why the squad are happy for me. The squad are happy because we're competitive in the league, we're competitive in the cup, and it does seem like right now we're not all that fussed about Europe, which I personally don't understand. But again, you look to the coach there, and the one thing that you need at Barcelona, you've got the players, you've got the quality, you need to motivate that group. And that's the one thing that I look when Luis Enrique came into the club. A lot of people will say, he wasn't a brilliant tactician, and I can get behind that. But the one thing that he was a phenomenal man manager. He really did get the best out of those players when he came in. He motivated them. He drove them to that Champions League mentality that they were going to go there and conquer everything. Is Ernesto Valverde right now motivating these players who've won everything? They've won the Champions League a few times over, a lot of these guys. They don't really need to win it again. But Valverde is the man who needs to motivate them to want to win it again, to get the very best out of them and to get the maximum out of them. And I'm just not sure right now, announcing his renewal at a time like this, is that really going to spur everybody on? Is that really going to motivate everybody to really go out and show what they can do? Or is it just staying with what we're doing, just existing, just going through the motions and not really pushing ourselves? That is the big question. If Ernesto Valverde can go through this season, we can continue to challenge on all fronts. There's a very good chance that he'll continue and things could be successful. But we have to see that progression. We have to see that transition. We've got to see that bravery in terms of taking players out, bringing new ones in, not being afraid to make these big choices. And that right now is Ernesto Valverde's biggest task. He's got to evolve as well. As a coach, as a person, you're learning more about your players, you're learning more about your environment. You have got to evolve as a coach, and you have to get the maximum out of this group and the coming players as well, who are going to make the big step up into this Barcelona first team in the seasons to come. And on that very note, I want to talk now about Jean-Claire Todibo, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this young man, simply because earlier on this week, there was a report that came out from Sport that actually said Barcelona, looking at the training sessions, they're actually really, really impressed with this young man. They're almost surprised by the quality that he has so early on. And I think it was expected in many ways that Todibo would come in and he would just sort of link up with his new teammates. He'd train, he'd take in the Barcelona culture. He wouldn't really be playing in the next 6 months at all. We just wanted to get him out of Bordeaux. But at the same time right now, in training, he's doing some really, really good things. And a lot of papers are saying he could actually get his chance in the Barcelona first team within the next few games. And that'll be very, very interesting to see if he makes the squad, if he gets some minutes. And again, that's a test of Ernesto Valverde to put some faith in some youth, to bring some new players in, to have that bravery, to have that conviction behind your decisions, to go in and say, look, he is ready and he can play. That's going to be interesting to see. And of course, big news right now on the centre-back front. One thing that could be absolutely massive for our season, Samuel Umtiti is on the brink of his return to first-team football. He's been training with the squad, he's been in full training sessions, he has been working tremendously hard to get back from this knee problem. We don't yet know how it's going to hold up. He could play a game and he could have a relapse, but at the end of the day, we've got to stay positive. He wants to play some part against Real Valladolid this Saturday, and he is desperate to make his return against his former club Lyon on Tuesday night in the Champions League. He's doing everything to be ready for that. Whether or not Valverde would choose him, we'll have to wait and see. We hopefully will see him this weekend against Valladolid to get some minutes on the pitch, to get some sort of continuity back in the first team. I'm very, very excited for this. I hope that nothing goes wrong, because we need Umtiti back, and with Umtiti in the team, we are so much better. And just finally, guys, in today's news roundup, just some news on Neymar and his potential return, because as you know, over the last few months, even since Neymar has left, we've heard so many rumours about the fact that Neymar wants to come back and that he is going to come back, and the Barcelona board are working to do that. Well, Bartomeu was asked directly about Neymar and a potential return to the Camp Nou just yesterday, and here is what he said about Neymar. I've spoken with him a few times since he left the club. We have, conversed, but Bartomeu said that Neymar's entourage has never ever come to him and said, look, Neymar wants to return. So it does seem as though those reports were a little bit fabricated. He said nobody has called us about Neymar. He has a contract with PSG. It's his second season at the club, and it's very, very difficult to imagine Paris Saint-Germain selling their star player. We didn't want to sell, but obviously there was that release clause. He said we have the disadvantage in Spain of having to have that release clause in contracts. European clubs like PSG, they don't have release clauses, and it's very, very difficult, therefore, to buy players when the clubs don't want to sell. He said the club has taken another path. With Dembele and Coutinho, we've got to move forward with them. They're the two biggest investments in this club's history, and we will back them 100%. So Neymar, as of right now, certainly not on the Barcelona agenda. He's out injured, of course. Paris Saint-Germain leading in their tie against Manchester United, and Bartomeu there, very, very firm. Dembele and Coutinho, are they the future of Barcelona? We are going to have to wait and see. What we do know is, though, those two are going to be playing next season, as it seems, under Ernesto Valverde. So please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. I am very, very excited to see your thoughts on Ernesto Valverde's renewal. What do you think of it? What do you think of the timing? What do you think going forward? How will this affect us? And what changes does he need to make going forward as the Barcelona coach? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I will see you later on, guys, for the Valladolid versus Barcelona match preview. But until then, as always, Visca el Barça.
Barça, Barça.